We're going with the automatic shutdown relay, and we're going to follow this along. We're concentrating on our plug there, C131, and then we look here, and then we've got our S128 and S129. Those will be the two connections for basically all of the injectors. And then as it comes down, it comes to the ignition coil here. Now if we go back to this page here, 8W-70-12, this is where it's showing us that it's going from our C131 to our splice 128. 8, 6, 2, and 4 are all incorporated with S128, and then our ignition coil here. 129 is going to be our odd number, so that's why you take a look here and you'll see with the 5.2 liter engine, and we're going to go 7, 1, 3, and 5, and those are with our 5.2 liter here, S129. This is the driver's side, this one here is the passenger side. As we look back, we got our C131. We're going to go through those two splices. We're going to check our resistance from this down to our connection here at C146, and this is the ignition coil. Back in the Jeep here, here's that C131, and we got it connected to the dark green orange. And then we take a look down here. This is our plug into the bottom of our coil down here, so it plugs into the bottom there. And then we got our dark green and orange wire on here. That'll be on this side here. So we're going to probe that. We're going to check our resistance from here to there. And we see that that's good. So we've verified our dark green orange on this side of the coil. Now we want to verify this one here, and that's a gray white, and it's going from that same plug over to our PCM, and that's going to be A7 on there. So I'm going to check that one. So here's our black plug here. That's where we're probing it. Now we check the other wire on the coil plug right here. We see that's good, and we know that it's good because we checked that earlier on with the test light when we were trying to crank it over, and we seen that the test light was coming on. So we verified those two and where they go, that's good. The next thing I want to check is from our idle air control to our PCM here. And there's a series of 4 wires to check from those two connections. So you're just going to start off with this one here, which is the purple and black. So we go to our black plug here for the computer. We got that connected to the purple and black. We have our plug that's disconnected off the idle air control, and we've got the purple and black on that one. So we're just going to check between those two. And we see that one's good. The next one's going to be a brown white wire. That's the computer side. Brown white wire on the idle air control side. And we see that one's good. The next one's going to be a yellow black wire. That's computer side. And then we're going to have a yellow black wire on the idle air control side. And we see that one's good. The last one's going to be a gray red wire. That's computer side. And the gray red wire on the end, and that's on the idle control side. And we see that one's good. So back to our page here, we've verified our dark green all the way down to the computer. We have verified all of our connections from the computer to the idle air control. I do believe I solved the mystery with our dark green orange wire that we're trying to find for plug C144, which is underneath the fuse box. When we take a look at here, this is our automatic shutdown relay. It's telling us to go to this splice 123. Then we're going to C131, and then these go to the injectors, and then this is coming to our dark green orange that was going to the ignition coil. We've proved all that. So what we have to do is we got to go over here to S123. Now when we look on this page here, what we're finding is We have our automatic shutdown relay with our dark green orange comes into S123. This is coming from our fuse box, S123. It says that this one here is going to our C131, and then over here, dark green orange is going to C144. This is underneath of our fuse box, and then it says it's going to the generator, and it's listed as dark green orange there as well. If we go to this page here, 8W-20-3, this is showing our automatic shutdown relay. It's dark green orange, goes to that S123. It's coming down, and then it says it's going to our C144. That is the plug that's underneath the fuse box. It says it's going in and it's coming out, and then we've got the dark green, and it comes back out. That's the C144, and it's coming back out dark green, and then it goes to the power control module here. Earlier on, we were trying to identify this dark green orange wire. I thought it was maybe from this plug here. Mistakenly, I think it's actually the plug that goes into the bottom of the coil there. This here is the plug that goes into the bottom of the coil. It has a dark green orange wire. You can see there that it has a dark green orange wire. So that all plays out. This is supposed to be our plug C144, and as we looked at it earlier, there is no dark green orange wire in this cluster here, but there is the dark green. So I think that either there's just a little bit of confusion with those with wiring schematic, that this dark green is what they're illustrating in that page there. So this is something that we can look into a little later, but it does help solve the mystery on what's going on with the information we're reading in the book. So according to this book, we cannot verify a dark green orange going into that plug on either side. If we take a look at this side, which is the computer side, there's no dark green orange in that string of wires there. If we look on the other side, which I'm assuming is going into our alternator, there's no dark green orange on this side either. So that's a little bit of a mystery right now. Next, we're going to verify our injectors. We're going to verify it from that plug to the injector. This is C131. It's going to go. There's a splice there. There's a splice on the other side of the engine, and then that will go off to all the individual fuel injectors. This one here we've got hooked up, so that should be number 2. On the passenger side here, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, and then on the driver's side we got 1, 3, 5, 7. And we see that one's good. Next, we're checking number 4. And that one's good. This one here's number 6. That one's good. This one here's number 8. That one's good. Over there we got number 1. That one's good. Next we got number 3. See, that one's good. This one here's number 5. That one's good. That one's number 7. We see that one's good. We've now verified that all of the fuel injectors have a good positive lead. You'd have a constant power. That's why it's coming off the coil there. That power is feeding the coil. It's feeding all of the injectors, and then the negatives is what's going to fire it in sequence to make the engine run properly. Here's that automatic shutdown relay again, and if I haven't done it before, we're checking it now, and that is our pink and white wire, and it is coming from our plug off of the computer, and that wiring comes down and it goes to our relay here. So we're just going to check that one, and we're seeing that that's checking out good too. Next, we're going to check the blue wire off the fuel pump relay, and that goes to the same plug. So here's the pin out on that one for the gray plug going to the computer. And then here is our relay here. I'm going to check that one, see what our reading is. And we see that one's good too. So we proved all of our connections are good for the blue, the pink. We know that our switched ignition on is good. We know that our constant powers are good on both sides. So everything is good. We just have to figure out why it's not triggering the relays. We're trying to trace down this black light blue wire that goes to the larger bundle of wires in past the firewall here. On the other side of the firewall, we know that it comes where that purple tape is, and that bundle of wires inevitably goes to our junction block here. And when I was looking it up in here, this looks like this could be our wire right there. It's black and light blue. And then we trace that over to this side here. And then I followed it up, and it seems to go to the steering column right here, where again you see the black and the light blue. And then once we disassemble the steering column, we take a look and we find that it goes right here into this mechanism here. And this thing is called the clock spring, and this is for the airbag. If we come back in here again, we're taking a look, and I did find this one here where it's black and blue in this bundle, and we trace that down, and it goes in. It's going to go into our wiring that goes into the back there. Now if we remember, that other black blue one is right there. And on the other side of that, that's where it goes to the brown yellow. So that's where it changed colors on us. But if we got that black blue that goes back with our bundle of wires this way, and maybe that's why they changed the color on it, was because when it goes back the other way, you'd get confused as to where it's supposed to be. Well, according to the manual, here it is here. Here's that black light blue, and it goes to our I guess this would be the controller for the airbag system. So I'm pretty confident that even though it's very difficult to try and find where these wires are going with the manual and even in the vehicle here, I'm pretty confident that it's involved with our airbag system. Again, here if we take a look, that black and light blue wire is going to our ground here on the body. And this would be underneath the driver's seat. If we refer to the manual here on 8W-43-4, this is the only page that I could find a reference for that black light blue wire. It's frustrating because it should show where it's coming from the power distribution center and spliced in, but there it's nothing coming off the power distribution center here is showing that wire. So we've got a little confusion going on this wire, but what we're going to do is we're going to set that to the side. I think that it's involved with our airbag system. It's possible there could be a malfunction there that the vehicle figures that the airbag has been set off or something like that, and that's why it won't allow the vehicle to start, possibly. But we're going to continue on trying to find those wires that go to the body control module. These are the two plugs for the body control module. Neither one of them had that black light blue wire. And again, this is the third plug that goes into the body control module, and that doesn't have the black blue wire. So when we set that other part aside, we're just going to focus on these three plugs right now with our body control module here as it's removed out of the vehicle. It will be bolted in like that. Those are the 4 holes there that line up with our 4 holes here. And then on the back side, these 2 plugs will plug in on the back side of this. The white dot indicates the white plug, and then that would be the black plug, and I have them labeled here. This is our C240 and our C241. And there you see those 2 plugs again, white and black. And then the bottom plug will plug into the bottom. Again, as that's bolted in there, that bottom plug comes in through this recess here. and it plugs into there, and I labeled that, and that's going to be our C383. And here it is here. And I do believe that this is basically the sense. So all these wires here are sensing things that go to the body control module, and then you have your in out on those two. Now I removed this. I did open it up and see if there was any problem inside. Doesn't look like it. There was no burn marks to show that anything was shorted out or anything like that. So don't think that this is the problem. But what we want to do is we want to check our continuity or our resistance in the wires to make sure that we don't have a break in one of the wires for the communication to the BCM. Just want to show you something I came across here. So this is the manual that I'm using to try and troubleshoot and diagnose what the problems are with this Jeep. But then, you know, I'm online doing some research, finding some stuff, and I found a manual online, and I just figured it'd be easier to print the pages off rather than flip it back and forth through this manual. So that's what I did. And this is one of the pages that I printed off that I found on the computer. Now, if you take a look, we've got 8W12-8, and in our manual here, we've got the same page. But if you take a look at that page and you take a look at this page, they're totally different. Completely different information that's on there. Now, here's what's interesting. If we take that, we put it here, and we take this page 8, and we compare it to page 9, essentially the information on this sheet resembles what we have on here. It's just demonstrated in a different way. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at our fuse 3 that comes down and it goes to our body control module with a brown pink. Now if we take a look on this page, we have our fuse 3 comes down and it shows here body control module brown pink. So we do have the same information on this page. It's just a little more confusing, whereas on that one there, it's kind of like a little more straightforward. But I just want to illustrate that, you know, depending on your reference information that you're getting, you know, sometimes it doesn't always match what you're working with some of these manuals that you're using and everything like that. And that could even go back to the date code of the vehicle, such as, you know, you'll have a vehicle that's sold as, for example, it'll be sold as a 98 model, but it was actually built in 97 if you check the date code. A little food for thought when you're trying to find reference information on the vehicle you're working with. One of these manuals is not going to cover from 1994 all the way to 1998. There's a split in there in around 1996 where they switched things over, and that was obvious with the body, with the front end, with the grille, and with the interior. Those are the telltale signs. But also too, there's going to be a huge difference in the wiring and everything like that too. So just throwing that out there for you, and then now we'll continue on. What I've done here is I'm going with the junction block, and I want to target everything that's going down to our body control module. So this is the first page, and it says we're going to go from fuse 3 through this brown pink, and we're going to go to the body control module. And then here, this is our intermittent wiper relay, and then we've got a power that's coming through here, and it's going down to the body control module. So we want to check these two wires here. We've got our yellow, light green, and we've got our brown pink. This is the fuse box we're dealing with now, as it is in the book there. And what we did was we went and checked all our fuses first. An interesting thing that we found was we had a few burnt fuses, and whoever owned this vehicle, instead of changing the fuse, what they did was they just wrapped a piece of wire between these two prongs here and then stuck it back in there. So we've removed these 3 and put some new ones in, and yes, I checked it and that did not make a difference, so that was not our problem there. So we should be dealing with fuse 3, which should be this one here, and we're going to leave the fuse in, and then I'll show you in the book what we're dealing with. We're going to go back, we're going to probe our white plug, because that's our C241, and when we look in here, we're looking under 15, that's our brown pink, fuse ignition switch output AC run. Inside the vehicle here, we've got our little pin out here for our number 15. We've got our test light hooked up to the factory ground here. We'll turn the ignition on and we're going to check, see if we've got some power. And we see that we do have power there, so that one is good. We checked from fuse 3 down and it went to our body control module. That was our brown pink. That tested out good. Now what we're looking for is the intermittent wiper relay. In this diagram, it's pretty confusing, but if we went back to this one over here, it's just straightforward, and it's this yellow-green wire that goes to the body control module. We flip back to our page here for our C241, and we take a look at 23, yellow, light, green, intermittent wiper relay control. Now we take a look on this page here, and this is going to be our distribution center underneath the hood there, right? So we've got our intermittent power relay right here, and it's going to be right across from our fuel pump relay. Taking a look under the hood here, that's going to be this relay right here. Here's the fuel pump relay. Here is our intermittent wiper relay right here. Inside, we've switched it to our pin out here, which is 23. Again, we got our test light to ground. We're going to turn the key. We're going to check for power. When I touch that together, you can see that there's some power there. It's not bright, but there is power, and you can hear the relay clicking over there under the hood. Next, we're going to be looking through our fuse 7, which goes down to the body control module. In this manual here, if we switched over this page, a little better illustrated on this page, it comes down, shows our fuse 7, comes down, violet wire, comes down to our battery positive. So this is a better illustration of the same thing we're looking at. Difference being, this here's the body control module section, and back here is our junction block section, and that's what we're doing. We want to check all our connections from our fuse box to the body control module. We go back to our pin out here, and when we take a look, here we are. Here we're going to be pin 8, our violet wire, fused battery positive. Another thing to note here, when they're saying fuse 7, we're looking at the fuse box that's inside the vehicle here, so that's going to be our fuse 7 right there. So this should be our fuse 7 right there inside the body of the vehicle. Here's our pin out 8. This is our battery positive, and then on this one here, we don't even need to cycle the ignition because this should be our constant power to the body control module. My test light lead will reach in there, so I don't need that little probe in there. What we're looking at is the last one right there. That's number 8 on the end, so we'll just check that. You can see that we've got our power. It's good. Next, we have the rear window defogger relay, which is going to come down. That's going to go to our body control module, and we're looking for a white red. Again, C241, we're looking for our white red on here, and it looks like it's going to be the 14 rear window defogger relay control. Again, if we look at our interior fuse box here, this is where we're going to find that rear window defogger relay. It's going to be right there, and it's just going to be just up from where all the fuses are right here. Inside the vehicle, this is what's showing as that relay right there. Inside, we got the keyed on power again for that one, and we're going to be 3 from the end on here. So we touch that, and we see that we've got some light on the light there. You can hear that relay clicking over there as well. Next, we have the park lamp relay. We got 2 wires coming out of that, and that's going to our body control module, and we got one going to C240 and one going to C241. If we look here on C241, we are looking for our tan, which is pin out 21, and that's the park lamp relay control there. Now, if we look at C240, body control module black, dark blue red, pin out 17, park lamp relay output. So I'm going to check those 2. Ignition switch on. What we're looking for is from the end here. So we hit that one there. That should be our pin 21, and you see that we got some power there. We also hear the relay clicking over on the passenger side there. Okay, on the black plug, we should be 18. We should be 2 in from the end here, and we hit that one. and we see that we have our power there. Next, we got our courtesy lamp relay that's going to come down to our body control module. We're looking at brown, light green, and that is going to our plug C241. Plug C241, if we look at pin out 6, that's where we're going to see our brown, light green with courtesy lamp relay control. With the ignition on, we're going to check pin 6, which should be 3 in from the end here. We probe that one. We see we got our light. We see our courtesy lights coming on throughout the vehicle, and we also hear that relay clicking over there. Next, we got our horn relay. It's coming down gray-orange. This is that junction block that we were talking about underneath the dash there, and as it comes over, it goes to the body control module. Again, gray orange, and we're looking at plug C241. We get back to our C241. If we take a look at 13, we've got our gray orange, and that's our horn relay control. If we take a look here under the hood, this is going to be our horn relay right here, and then we'll go check inside. Ignition on, and we're going to go, we want to go the center row here. We want to go 4 from the end. That should be our pin out 13. And we touch that, we see that we got some power, and we can hear that relay clicking under the hood as well. Next, we're going to look at the auto headlamp relay, and that comes down, and that's going to go to our body control module, black orange, and that's going to be plug C241. And then again, this is going to be the fuse box inside the vehicle here, and we take a look at the top, and we got the auto headlamp relay right here at the top center. Plug C241, we take a look at number 12 here. We got our black orange auto headlamp relay control right there. Ignition on again, and so that's going to be right beside our other one. So this time we're going to go 5 over from the end there, so that should be our proper pin out. You can see we've got some power there, and we can hear it clicking over on the passenger side, so that one is good. And I think the last one here that I can find for power to the BCM is the fog lamp relay. And as we trace that one down, we're going to look at a dark green yellow. It goes to the body control module, plug C241. Again, with inside fuse box here, we take a look. We're going to see our fog lamp relay right there. We check our plug out here at C241, and we take a look down here at the bottom here. We've got our dark green yellow fog lamp relay control right there. Got the ignition on again, and this time we're going to go 3 from the end on the bottom here, and that should be our fog lamp relay. We see the light, we hear the click over on the passenger side. Everything is good on that one. So there's one more thing we need to look at, and if we take a look at this page here, it's going to show our data link connector. And then the wiring comes out, and then we got our body control module, and the wiring comes out, and they got a common connection here, S203 and S204. And this is going to be our battery positive and basically our battery negative. When we look at this page here, we've got our plug C240, and that's going to be our pin out 19 and our pin out 20. We want to see what is going on with these two splice connections here. And that brings us to this page here where we got splice 203 and splice 204. Now, what we're seeing here is everything is commonly tied in, and it goes down to our body control module, and it goes to our data link connector. Whereas the other page looked like it went to the connector and then it came down to the body control module, when in fact, all of these things are tied into that spot. And one will be our positive and one will be our negative. Now if we take a look on this page here, this is where it's going to show our S204 and our S203, and that's going to be up where you can't get at unless you want to tear the dash out. So those that's where everything gets connected up in there, and then it goes to those various different things. Back on this page here, this is our black connector to the body control module, which is our C240, and we're looking at 19 and 20, and this is going to be our positive and our negative. So what we can do is we can check for our positive on that one. So we should be 3 in from the end, should be our 19 pin, and we check that. and we don't have anything. We're gonna check 18 right here, which is 2 in from the end. Check 18, and we see we have power there. When we get back to the book here, we double check our plug. We're looking, and we have our 19, which was our positive. We didn't get a light come on there. And when we checked 18, we had power, and that's the fused ignition switch output start run. So we have power there, but we don't have power here. We go back to this page here where it shows the data link connector and our body control module and our common splice right here for the violet brown, and that's going to be our positive, and then the white black is going to be our negative right there. In fact, when you take a look under the dash, there is no brown, it's just a violet wire. So we'll check the data link connector and see if we have any power to that next. We take a look at the data link connector here, and in that manual it was saying that it was a twisted pair of wires, which would be these two here, which is the purple, the black, and the white. We see that somebody soldered some stuff there. I mean, it's a solid connection. I've checked it. If I hold that data link connector in place here while I can test it here, it's supposed to be this purple one here, and again, we don't have anything there. So both of these plugs, we got the data link connector, we got the body control module, and we both don't have anything for the purple wire on those, which should be the battery positive. This may be an indication as to what's wrong with our vehicle here and why it won't start.